Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and tonight I'm proud to bring you an Age of Heroes presentation, Joyful Enlightenment with Joanne Gajewski. Greetings, Joanne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm looking forward to hearing your show and learning more about your wonderful guest.
Thank you. Thank you. Tonight I have the beautiful Rhonda Fields on. She is a priestess, owner of New Moon Eclectics, and she is a teacher and a master herbalist, and she does a lot of wonderful things. And tonight we're going to talk about how things that have brought her joy have empowered her life. And hopefully we can get a little bit of knowledge out there to everybody, because that's what this show is about: finding ways to take what brings you joy to empower you through the crazy times, which I think everybody is going through right now. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Rhonda Fields, and you can tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Joanne. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
Uh, so, a little bit about me. Gosh, um, I've been a witch since I was a kid and began learning from my grandma, watching her in the kitchen and around the house and doing what she was doing, and learned that way. And then, little by little, learned from others along the way, from the ancient ways to indigenous to Corellian to Alexandrian, Gardnerian. And so, yeah. um, Now I'm here. An ordained high priestess and doing my best that I can as a priestess for the better of our community.
Yeah. And I know that if I was to ask you right now, what does joyful empowerment mean for you, to you? That statement.
Joyful empowerment to me is finding ways to bring joy to yourself so you can better empower yourself.
Because I know a lot of times we go through hard things in life. I think that's what brings us to our practices, whether it be, witchcraft, occultism, whatever it is that you're into. I think a lot of us come into it because we're on our knees. We don't come into it a lot of the times laughing and joyful. We come into it because we're surrendering. We're surrendering
Exactly.
to the God and Goddess. We're surrendering to God, whatever you want to call it. And I know that for me, it came at a pretty heavy time in my life, when my daughter was diagnosed on the spectrum when she was little.
Yeah.
And, I threw myself into the arms of Demeter,
Mm-hmm.
because Demeter moved heaven and earth pretty much to do what she needed to do for her daughter. And I relied on that
Right.
strength. Um, so I know, you have gone through a lot in your life. And what kind of helped you through?
So I had a pretty rough childhood. Um, when I first started doing things, quote unquote, I was
Hmm.
probably about 10. And what I was doing, I didn't know it was what I was doing until later, but I used to astral project and I would shapeshift. I would turn myself into a butterfly and take out my window, go fly out my window. Um, I was raised by my grandma for the first 6 years, which was wonderful. And I did interact and live with her on and off until I was about 15. But my mother had gotten me. And long story short, there was molestation, there was beatings, there was neglect, there was a lot that I had
Yeah.
gone through. And what got me through all those times was remembering that there, and at the time I didn't realize what it was. I just knew that there was a higher being that was holding me up and guiding me through, not letting me give up. You just keep on fighting. And it was finding those moments in those tough times whether it was coloring, getting artsy
Mhm.
craftsy stuff, taking walks on the beach, going in the woods, going on a horseback ride, that those kinds of things, connecting, is what helped me through the earlier years. Still
Yeah.
helps me through today, but that those were the kinds of things I held on to tightly to when I was growing up. Once I started actually connecting with other pagans and getting hands-on training, so to speak,
Yeah.
uh, they showed me other ways, setting boundaries, meditation, working with my chakras, to help balance myself when I felt off, how to stand on tree roots barefoot and like totally ground yourself,
Yeah.
lose yourself in nature, that kind of thing, and it was just a very empowering experience that brought joy to my life, you know.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, hang on. New earbuds too.
And now those,
Sorry.
those are the experiences, though, I think that carry us through because so many times we get stuck in the spiral, right? We go down and we get stuck in that place. I mean, it's okay to feel the emotion, right? Because
Right.
you have to work through that emotion, whatever it is. But sometimes you get stuck in that spiral. And to me, it was, you know, studying and learning all these different things is what got me through. Talking to people, probably why I'm in the line of work that I'm in. It was always helping others for me to, you know, to help empower me. That's why I always say through empowering others, we empower ourselves. So
Exactly.
bringing that joy and learning these different things. For me, a lot of times joy is music. I have to have, we were talking about that the other night. I
Hmm.
can't live without my music. I can live without TV. I can live without the computer, but I cannot not have music going.
Right,
You know.
exactly. And we were saying that music calms the savage beast when we were
Hmm.
talking the other day, and it is absolutely true. And I was actually in a position as you are. One time, I was a house mother taking care of handicapped individuals, and that brought me a lot of joy. I was also a CNA for many years, so helping
Yep.
others with that, and as a priestess, what brings me joy now is helping others
Yeah.
to have a better life and to be better people. Um, when I teach when I teach my students, I get elated when they're happy because they're learning what makes their lives easier.
Yeah.
Because I went through so much, not just as a child, but physically growing up as an adult. My body's been through a lot,
Yeah.
and which is how I got into herbalism.
Yeah.
And I'm not a master, by the way, I'm just certified. I'm a certified herbalist,
That's
but
the
it's all
same
right.
thing. You're a master
Uh,
of your craft.
I try my best. If I can make one person smile every day, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
That's my goal every day, is to make one person smile, whether it's from a post that I put up in the group, or a phone call from one of my students, or a PM from one of my students that's having a tough time. And we actually have someone now in the group that's going through severe depression.
Mm,
And so helping her get over the severity part,
yeah.
which we have done, is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
And like I was saying earlier, people, it's so easy to get stuck in the spiral, especially today, in
Hmm.
today's world, with everything that's going on top of what happens in your personal life. We were talking about this at work today, with one of my patients. It's like you have all these different things happening, and that you're trying to function through. And we tend to realize we don't see how much we grow because we're so stuck in that one mindset that, I'm doing all these things and you feel like you can't navigate. And sometimes
Right.
we fail to look at how far we've come because we get so wrapped up in the moment.
I think sometimes when we do shadow work
Hmm.
or meditation, it helps us to look back at where we were. And then it helps us to focus and see where we are now, how far we've come, the difficulties that we, excuse me, the difficulties we've overcome, the
Yeah.
challenges. And I think that helps us to, well, I did that, so I know I can do this.
Yeah.
I moved forward from that point to now. I know I can move even further going forward.
Yeah. We always tend to lose sight. I find I often have to remind people that, you know, you're capable of doing hard things. You
Exactly.
know? And it's, I don't know, it's awful. I feel that, everybody's just hostile lately. I feel there's a lot of, I was playing with my cards while I was waiting to come on, and
Choose kindness. Right on.
you
It's like
know,
in the Christian world, they say one arc,
hmm,
act of random kindness.
yep,
Excuse me. But yeah, it's whether it be just smiling at somebody can like change their whole mood.
yeah,
Giving somebody a pat on the back, saying one kind word, things like that can change and letting people know they're not alone, because there's a lot of people that come into the craft that do feel alone because they're solitary.
yeah,
Maybe they live with parents or a significant other that isn't accepting.
yeah.
And, they feel so alone. But knowing that you're not, even if it's an online thing, it's, reach out to somebody that can put a smile on your face and change your whole look. I always
Well,
say that there's something positive in every negative.
well, if the pandemic taught us anything, it's it's how to connect with others when we can't be with them in person. And I think that
Exactly.
really, in a way, it helped. And in a way, it brought a not so nice side of people out to the forefront. You know.
There's a lot of people that hide behind the keyboard, I like to say.
Yes.
And, I had a discussion with a particular priestess not long ago, and she was doing some pretty not so nice things. And I just told her, I said, from my point of view, that is not what a priestess does.
No.
We're supposed to be out here helping each other, helping build up other people, helping Mother Earth, helping, make smiles,
Yeah.
not out there causing grief, because it's not, the world has become so different from way back when.
Oh,
You know, I,
absolutely.
I keep bringing up Witch Vox. Do you remember Witch Vox? So I remember even in the days of Witch Vox, there was not so much turmoil within the pagan community.
No, I
It
mean,
didn't matter which tradition you belonged to or what family you came from, what your DNA was. It didn't matter. If your heart and soul was right and you entered everything, with love and understanding and peace, then it was all good. Everybody got along and everybody
I,
helped each other.
I mean, we didn't have all this information at our fingertips, and I think I was telling you and Harold that I had to, go to Salem physically to, find anything back in those days.
Right.
And I would go there and I would connect. I'd go to, Lori Cabot's shop and talk to Lorelei or talk to Jody or whoever was in there at the time. And, we would talk and they would say, oh, look at this or research this or read this. And
Hmm.
because we all started with the Buckland's book. I have the blue book.
Right.
And, I read it and I was like, okay, I like this, but not all of it is for me. What more do I need to know? And, I went and then I read Power of the Witch by Laurie Cabot. And that made sense to me. It was like, oh, wow, this resonates with me,
Right.
because I was in Catholic school and that didn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah,
I
when
was
growing
always
up,
told I was too much or not enough, or, you're as bold as Brad, because I questioned everything, you know.
exactly. Yeah. I think a
Um,
lot of us have been through that same Christian, Catholic, Baptist, Protestant, etc.
you know,
background.
and then, and turns out that, in a way I was kind of right, because I'm like, who are you to tell me my sins are forgiven? Meanwhile, they're going in, and where I was going to school, that priest was molesting children, boys.
Precisely.
Come to
Right.
find out later on down the line, um, which sadly, I guess we're finding out is happening in our own community now, from what I hear
A, I
out in the
same. I've heard the
interwebs.
same. I've heard
You
the
know,
same thing, and it's very
oops,
being through
I find it very paradoxical.
very, and it's the I have like not forgiven. I kind of forgiven what I've been through as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, but to see that happening to other people as an adult severely bothers me because
Well,
I know what it's like to be a child going through that.
yeah.
And it's to me, I can't wrap my head around reasoning.
Find it kind of hypocritical because we're the ones calling them out for doing that. And I forget who I was talking to. I'm like, I feel like I'm reliving Catholic school again, like when all
Right.
these things were brought out. And and it's sad because, our kids deserve better.
Our kids
And
deserve a lot better. Our kids should have, better than we ever did, growing up. Um, even like our students that we teach, they deserve to, and I tell my students, I hope you bypass me. I hope
yeah.
you do more and better than I ever did, and I will be so proud of you for it.
Well,
And my children, I'm very protective over,
yep.
and I know that as a pagan, as a priestess, we're not supposed to want to cause harm to anyone. But when it comes to situations where a child's involved with an adult that's doing wrong, it is so hard to hold back the reins.
Well, there's where my personal bias is with kids and animals. I have a big problem with people that do those kinds of things. Um,
Exactly.
and it is hard. It's hard seeing the damage done. But on a good note, the actions we take today, and I tell people this, have a ripple effect. They ripple out 7 generations. So whatever it is that you're doing today, any action that you take, good or bad, it's not just affecting you. You're
Right.
affecting your next 7 generations out.
Exactly.
So when you're
Exactly.
healing that, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing generational trauma. You're healing all these things moving forward. And
Precisely. Which is one of the reasons why I think it's important for me as a mother, as a grandmother, to bring better to my life, to make my life better. So it makes it better for my kids and my
yeah,
grandkids, and hopefully their kids and their grandkids. I don't want them to suffer at all. I want them to have a better life. So I try my dangest to, and I tell everybody now, and it took a long time for me to get to this point. I can go
hmm
from 0 to 60 and back. I have a very long fuse, and when I do get to that point where I blow, it doesn't take me long at all to get back to, okay, you know, this
yeah.
it's now I'm not mad anymore. I'm not upset anymore. How do we deal with this in a calm manner?
Yeah.
Without, so yeah, I do. It took me a long time to get to this point, going from 0 to 60 and back,
Yeah.
you
And I'm
know,
sure that these things like your herbalism and your personal practice are all things that contributed to you getting through those times, you know?
and my art helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Um, my animals helped me a lot,
Oh
you
yeah, I work
know,
with horses and boy, let me tell you, that's
yeah,
powerful stuff.
yeah, we're in the motorhome traveling across the country, and a lot of people are like, you have a farm there because we have my Siberian Husky, um, and then I have the mama cat, two kittens, and a turtle now.
I love
It's
it.
just a baby. It's just a baby turtle, but we rescued her. So,
That's me
yeah,
coming into your life. I'm the turtle medicine.
it's
Oh, look at how little. See,
yeah,
those are things that bring me joy right there.
this
Hello.
right, yeah, this is Shorty, and Shorty had a rough go. Whoops. She blocked the screen. Yeah, Shorty had a rough go coming in. She was born with both of her front legs kind of bent in, her front paws.
Oh,
And I had someone tell me one time, you need to bring her to a vet and have them break it and reset it. And I am not putting her through that kind of pain. She was born like that for a reason. I was born like this for a reason, so I'm not going to go alter her body just to, so people wouldn't look at her cross-eyed.
she seems to be
So
jumping around just fine.
she's happy. She's jumping around. She plays with her sister in here, and they literally run full board from one end of the motor
We're
problems in
frozen.
society, things that are going on, issues that are going on. I don't laugh at the problems, but I don't dwell on them either.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and like the problem that we're having in the pagan community, with the pedophiles. I am not going to sit there and dwell on that specific negative toxicity.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep focusing on what I can do to make the community better.
Yeah. And to change that. And that's
Exactly.
ultimately what it is, because everybody's like, oh, and I'm like, listen, I do my thing within my community. I work with at-risk youth. We'll leave it at that. And I work on helping these kids, I guess, navigate um, other people's poor choices. There's
Exactly.
so many kids in this country that are suffering from neglect, relational abuse, generational trauma, all kinds of
Hmm.
things. And,
Exactly.
you know, we need to focus on them because they're the future. And some of
Right.
these kids just, they need help to navigate,
They
you know?
do. And it's like, I remember growing up, my grandparents, when I get really old, you're going to have to take care of me. Well, now we're in position, where one day we're going to be able to take care of us, keep
Yeah.
doing what they're doing, or do we try to make them see better, to be better people?
Yeah, and that's what it is. And that's how you heal it moving forward. Because healing these children is going to heal it moving forward. Because right now we have people just don't know how to communicate anymore. And
Exactly.
it's a lot of it's either my way or the highway. And
Precisely.
you know, I give kudos to people that are bringing these things out to the spotlight, but it's how you work it that matters, right? Um, I do what I can where I can because to me, that's what advocacy is. It's going out there and doing the work where it makes sense. Can I go storm the Capitol and I probably could, but it's not really within my means. But what is within my means is working with someone that's going through some type of trauma and helping them work through it. And
Exactly.
there's so many kids out there. Our kids are hurting, and that's where my focus is.
And it's even the adults. And I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but as an example, when we bought this motorhome, I already had a 33-foot camper, and I also had a Tahoe. And I was going to sell the camper, and then one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks. Donate it. So there was this semi-homeless man. He was working but staying like in a hotel part-time.
Yeah, yeah,
And Harold and I had befriended him, and he kept showing more and more that he was a decent human being. So I donated it to him, and I told him, I says, my only thing that I ask is that you pay it forward. Do
yeah,
something nice for someone else. And
yeah.
when you do something nice to someone, for someone else, you ask them to do the same thing. Just pay it forward.
That
And
ripple effect.
yeah, exactly. The word was just going to come out of my mouth. It's that ripple effect. You do something kind for one person, and then it's like you tell one friend, and they tell two friends, and they tell two friends, and so forth and so forth. And it may not change the world, but it may change that little community,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I've always been the perpetrator of small steps or small attainable goals equal big wins and leading by example.
Exactly.
I'm gonna act the way I want to see the world,
Right.
I'm gonna lead by example. I'm gonna treat people with respect. I'm gonna honor their choices, whether they make me happy or not. Obviously not if it's criminally, if
Right,
you're a
right.
serial killer, I'm going to honor your choice, but I'm still going to turn you in. But anyways,
Yeah. And it's like Earth Day too. Years ago, everybody that I knew used to go out and clean something up
yeah,
on Earth Day. And
that's what I
now
tell
you're
people. I'm
hard
forever
pressed.
posting, pick up your trash. Even if it's just one, even if you're just doing your own trash, that's
Right,
huge, you
right,
know?
exactly. I can Every time I see trash on the side of the road, I think of that old commercial with the Indian standing on the side of the highway.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah, with the tear. And he would cry. Did we
I
lose
don't
Rhonda? Oh, there you are. You froze for a
care, but
minute.
for some reason my thing keeps saying low bandwidth. And
Oh,
every now and then I know we're still getting like solar
solar
storms or
flares. And I
something
know
from
there's
the
storms going on everywhere.
exactly. So the internet's been kind of iffy. I'm trying to
I'm
work on
forever
the
posting
academy.
pick up your trash because when I first moved up here 15 years ago and I'm in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, which is a beautiful area.
It
And
is beautiful. Yeah.
there was no when I first moved, what amazed me was there was no trash on the roads. Coming
Mm-hmm.
from New York where there's trash all over the road, it
Right.
was like a real, and even parts of Massachusetts, people litter or whatever. And I was driving the other day. I don't know who I was with, and I said, you know what I'm noticing? And it's upsetting to me. I remember when I moved up here and there wasn't any trash on the side of the road, and now here it is, people just throwing things out
Right.
the window, you know.
Excuse me. People they lost the ability to care. And it's not just about the trash and littering and polluting. They've lost the sense to care about anything. They don't care about each other. They don't care about anybody else. It has become a me world.
Yeah. Yeah, a world instant gratification too. Like we want everything now, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. And it doesn't happen like that.
Like I was thinking the other day, like my Sigrid was talking about how her coffee maker broke and this and that. And I'm thinking about all the coffee makers that are breaking in the world right now. Where are they going?
Right.
Not to go down that rabbit hole, but we lived much simpler lives back in the day. Like you had your cast iron pan, your pot, your
Yep.
dishes. You lived with what you needed, and I feel we've gone way out of balance in the other direction on some. We become a world of extremes. You're either extremely poor or extremely wealthy, and there's no in
Right.
between.
I remember, and I wish I could remember who said it, where I heard it, but someone had mentioned one time, and this is going back quite a few years ago, that if you want to declutter your life, declutter yourself, start with your home. If
Yeah.
you haven't touched a particular thing in a year, get rid of it.
Wasn't that
It
that
has no
condo
purpose.
lady? Something condo.
I, to be honest, I don't remember, but
Because everybody, I think, went on that kick where they went through their closet. I want to say Julie Condo or Judy Condo or something.
yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I know when I go through my home, no matter what it is, before this it was the camper, before the camper it was, the New Moon Eclectic Covenstead, before that it was my farm. No matter where I was, if I was cleaning and I came across something, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. Obviously, I don't need it, so I donate it. I'll ask my friends, hey, you need this, and if not, then it goes to Goodwill or something.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And I delete it out of my life. It's done. It's gone. I ain't gonna worry about it. I haven't touched it. And it's kind of decluttering your home helps to declutter you.
Well, it's funny because Sen Jack and I were talking months back, and he was talking about um removing blocks,
Hmm.
road
Right.
openers and things like that. And before you open a road, you got to declutter your room. You got to declutter your area. You know what I mean? If you
Right.
want that energy to flow.
Exactly.
And I try to keep that in mind. And that includes decluttering our minds too, of the junk of what you take in. I
Hmm.
have 11 weeks until I graduate, and I am like, I have so much going on. I have to be really selective of what I'm taking in and what,
Exactly.
and what rabbit hole I'm going down, because I have to find now another internship to get my state hours, like a paid internship. And
Right.
I have all these things, I have to find a job. I have to do it within 2 years. I have to be a member of this. I have to take 2 tests, and I'm like, and I feel like every time, and I still have to get all these hours done. And it's just a continuous.
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day, making time for yourself,
Hmm.
and the prime example.
Hmm.
You can go down the rabbit hole of I got to do this, 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 and this. Oh, don't forget you,
Yeah.
because if you can't keep yourself stable, well, not I wouldn't say stable because I don't think any of us are completely. We're all us witches are crazy, but if you can't keep yourself in somewhat of a good state of being,
Yeah.
then nothing else falls. How are you going to help somebody else if you're screwed up?
No, if you're in a constant state of dysregulation, there's no way. You know what I mean? And,
Exactly.
and that's when I know I have to like whoa it back, and sit down and be like, all right. My boss was saying it today. He's like, you can sit there and design this whole fitness plan, like he was talking about how he had put on some weight. And he's like, you could do this whole fitness plan and do all the things and tweak all the, I'm going to do all these exercises. But until you put the running shoes on and get your feet on the ground and moving, that plan isn't going to
Exactly.
help. You can write all the plans you want, you know,
Exactly.
and you have to really pull yourself out of it. I do a lot of classes with like Colette Baron Reed and Kyle Gray, and yeah, I know people are like, oh, what do you like? Well, and I'm like, no, I like to learn, and what I learned was one of the first things that they both say right out of the gate is limit your social media diet.
Yes.
because what you're taking
Exactly.
in is so important. And she's like, she was talking about how she would do social media like fasts, she called them, or like,
Hmm.
where she would, just do the basics. Like, she's like, I have to do some things because, my presence is online, but
Right.
I don't have to spend every waking moment on it. So a lot of
Precisely.
times I do that where when I see my timeline getting crazy, I know
Hmm.
it's time to step back. And it's amazing when you come back how different your timeline is when you're not clicking on all that garbage or clickbait or whatever they call it that
Hmm.
overruns your timeline. And I think
Yeah.
Dustin Parry was saying that too, um, from the Discovery Channel. He's like, you want to change your timeline? Start clicking on things that you want to hear as opposed to all the junk out there. Start commenting on the good posts and and that you want to clean your feed. That's the first way to do it, is to break that algorithm.
Yeah, I did that to mine a while back when I noticed that if I had clicked on an ad, like taken for when I got this motorhome, for instance, and I'd see ads for like Harvest Host or, the apps that help you navigate an RV going down the road, where to stay, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, oh my gosh, now look at it. My feed is like completely stuffed with
RVs.
this stuff. Yeah. And I was like, things have not changed, but I don't comment or click on um like the stupid odds and ends that you see that aggravate you. I just scroll right past all that mess. And because it does still pop up every now and then. But I don't, my routine with social media is I get up in the morning, I take care of the animals, make Harold and I coffee. We usually watch the news together first thing in the morning with our coffee. And then he does his thing, I do mine. I'll get on Facebook, I'll do my good morning post for my groups, I'll check my emails,
Yep.
I'll check on the pages, and then that's it. I might go
Yep.
back afterwards. Like today, I felt led to create a post about like your spiritual self. For some reason, after our thing the other day, I was like, yeah, something, we need to dig a little deeper into that. So I created a
Absolutely.
post for the group for that. And I haven't been on Facebook since.
Yeah.
I've been putting around and doing other things. Harold and I are trying to come up with different venues to like so we can set up vending somewhere to
Yeah.
make money as we're going down the road, because we do still have to survive, and then coming up with gigs, for us to go to, whether it be interviews or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I try not to, yes, I'm a teacher, yes, I'm a priestess, but I am not going to bury myself in social media.
Yeah.
If they message
Again,
me,
it's about balance, because I feel we're so
exactly,
out of balance in so many areas. You know what I mean?
exactly,
My
yes.
grandmother used to say years ago, God rest her soul, she'd be like, too much of anything. I'm trying to translate it from Italian to English, but too much of anything, even a good thing, is bad.
Exactly.
Anything in excess.
Mm.
Like I love chocolate cake, but if I eat chocolate cake 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'm going to be severely diabetic and probably dead. You know what I mean?
And
So,
looking like that good, what is a Goodyear tire
oh
guy.
my God, yeah. Stay Puff Marshmallow Man.
Right, right.
Uh, so
Yeah, if we need to literally, and even though I've been doing this 45 years plus, you know, and I find myself even today, finding, because of the mundane world we live in, and all the things that go on here, there, and everywhere, to finding that balance, to
yeah,
finding time, to bring joy and peace to myself, not just for my physical being, but also for my mental being, for my soul. Like you were saying the other day, mind, body, soul. You
yeah.
need to have a balance in order to feed that. Because
Oh,
if
it's
you don't,
true.
Yeah, like I said, if you don't keep yourself right, how are you going to help anybody else?
Well, you can come to therapy and
When
and
give me an
talk,
appointment, I'll be
right?
there. No, I'm just kidding.
Which I know really, which is fine. I'm not downing therapy. That's what
No,
I do. But I mean, if you're coming to me and we're doing and you're not addressing those other areas of your life, like you could come to me and talk to me all you want about your depression and your health, but if you're not making the changes in the other areas of your life, it's not going to work. You're only dealing with one aspect. That's why I like to take the holistic approach where you're addressing all those different issues, your mind, your body, your spirit. Because if that's not in alignment, it's not going to work. If you're coming to therapy and you're talking to me and we discuss things and then you go out and you're drinking a 12 pack of beer every night and
right.
wondering why nothing is changing,
Exactly.
you know, all the
It's
therapy in the world isn't going to help you until you break that pattern.
and I think it all begins with your brain.
Yeah.
Everything. And I tell my students all the time when they get in a rut, retrain your brain,
Yeah.
retrain your brain. Well, how do I do that? And I'll explain to them, start small,
Hmm.
start small. And it could be something as simple as like the self love. It's not simple, but the self love thing,
Yeah.
you know, start saying nice things to yourself. Get your head to understand you are beautiful, you are worthy.
Well, even if you
You
don't
know,
believe it, your subconscious is listening to you. Just because your
exactly,
conscious self is going, oh, no, I'm not. I have a big nose. The back of your mind is hearing that. You know what I
exactly,
mean? And it's going to act accordingly because our subconscious controls a lot of what we do. Look at how it hides trauma, right? It takes trauma, our brain hides it. And the subconscious is like, oh, but I know it's there. So I'm going to give you this cool behavior to deal with now. Or these body aches, we're now finding that trauma hides in the body.
right,
The body keeps the score, a really great book. And we're learning all these things and you have to work it all through because it does
yeah,
affect your mind. Wayne Dyer said it best: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
exactly. They do, precisely, they do. And a lot of people don't understand and realize just how powerful our minds are.
Mhm.
And I always go back to the story I heard one time about a woman who, and this is how powerful your brains are. She wanted to be pregnant so bad that
Yeah.
she fully 100% believed with all her mind, with everything that she had, that she was pregnant. She literally went through all the phases of being pregnant, including her body changed to where her belly grew, her breast grew, she developed milk, and she actually went through the contraction stage, but she never gave birth to a child.
Wow. Yeah, that's the
And
power of the mind.
exactly. So if the mind can do that to your entire body, and it was, I can't say it was a positive thing that happened, but
Say it's like a
if you can,
placebo effect, right?
yeah,
Where you're getting all the things, but it's you don't have the baby, but you're getting all the symptoms.
correct. And she, I mean, if this woman can keep telling herself, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, and just kept every single day, all day long, kept telling
Yeah.
herself that. Can you imagine? And it's like manifestation.
Hmm.
It's if you keep telling yourself, certain things, those certain things will happen, but you have to, it's like intention, manifestation. You have to, and
Yeah. Well,
behind
it's
all
like,
that is the belief. And
yeah.
what controls belief is your mind,
And I'm
your
telling you, I'm a
brain.
big perpetrator. I'm a big fan of the brain, as people know.
Hmm.
I'm always posting, have you loved your brain today? Because your
Right.
brain does everything. And you have to really, really, really honor that vessel. You know what I mean? It
Pretty much.
controls
Yep.
everything and it tries to protect us. It helps us. It's what makes us speak. It's what makes us see. It controls everything.
Yep.
And I find it so fascinating how little we know about it when it does so much. And I'm always like, do one good thing for that brain every day. Work that mind, however way it is, expand your mind.
Exactly. Look at something beautiful, read some beautiful words or something, think beautiful thoughts. Or like we were talking the other day about guided meditation, even that helps to retrain your brain, whatever it takes to stay in that positive mindset or try to
Now,
stay in that positive mindset.
if people want to work with you or in New Moon Eclectics, how would they get a hold of you?
Okay, so there's a couple of ways. One of the ways is to go on Facebook, and they can look up Rhonda Field, or they can look up New Moon Eclectics. There's a New Moon Eclectics regular group, and there's also a New Moon Eclectics Academy group, and there's also New Moon Eclectics and Witchcraft TV. They can do that, or they can email me at rhondafields08@gmail.com.
Yeah. And now, if you have one message you can give everybody out there for joyful empowerment, what would that be?
Um, for one, don't ever think that you're alone in anything. If you're feeling down and out, reach out to someone to help you get out of the hole. Because I know sometimes it's hard to get out by yourself.
Yeah.
So reach out to somebody that can, whether it be a friend, a coworker, or somebody in a group, even like some of the Facebook. Now, I won't say all Facebook groups are great at that, but if you find yourself like my group, people know better than to down anybody else. If you start bad mouthing somebody about a question or,
I don't know who it
whatever
was
that
was
they've
talking
done.
about. They just went into a newbie magic group or art group, I think it was. One of my friends, he's a Ed Capo, he's a really great artist, and he joined an art group. And he's always like, oh, I hate groups. And he joined it, and he was like, people were like horrible to eat. It was like he was like, I had to leave it.
Yeah, there's unfortunately, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that give the wrong information, the wrong feedback, but exactly choose kindness every single day, all day, 24/7, 365, and if you can't help that person out for whatever reason, try to steer them towards a direction where they can seek help. But yeah, we are all beautiful. We are all worthy, no matter what your where you are in life. Always know that you're beautiful and you are worthy. And if anybody tries to tell you different, you can tell them to F off, because we're all children of the goddess one way or the other. And we are in her perfect image. So, and that's my thought anyway. And we all do
That's
have our
beautiful.
flaws. We all have our flaws. We all have mistakes that we make. I drink too much coffee and smoke too many cigarettes sometimes. But,
I have no
those are
vices
my
left at this point. I need my caffeine.
those are my vices. But yeah, everybody deserves to know that they are worthy, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing. You are worthy of better. You are beautiful, so that would be my advice to people. you know Stop thinking that you're not.
Take that thing that finds you joy, whether
Exactly.
it's gardening and herbs like it is for her to kind of help,
Painting
or
animals.
painting, activism, whatever it is that brings you joy. If you follow that passion, and every person that I've talked to, whether it was Trent Shelton or any of these other people, they're like, they did what they loved, they did what brought them passion. And that's, when you do what you love what you do.
Exactly, and that goes along the lines of you are worthy.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy, do it.
I think Cheryl
To
Crow wrote
crap
a
on
song
what
about
other
that.
people say. Yeah. Yeah, if it makes you happy, do it.
Yeah.
You like putting your feet in the sand, sky clad, do it. As long as you're within, the boundaries of decency with
You know,
public.
and that's what I like about the show, because it's not it can be anything. Some I've had people on that, their empowerment is herbs or art or music or
Cooking.
cooking, it's all different
Hmm.
things. And that's gotten them through to where they are today, relying on those little things to help get them through. And that's so important right now.
It's
Now more
very
than ever.
important,
The world is
right?
crazy.
And the world is, and I had a wise old guy tell me one time, the world is what you make of it. If
Mm,
you like the world that you're in, only you can change it. No one can change it for you.
yeah. Sadly, you do have to do the work. That my dad told me. And I
Hmm.
remember when he first told me when I was 18, he was like, the world's a rat race. Anything you do require anything worthwhile that you're going to do requires work, whether
Yeah,
it's a relationship, a friendship, an education, a career, a lawn, a hobby. You get out of it what you put into it. And it's true. There's no escaping the work. And I tell people you can say that you're going to do something all you want, but unless you actually, put on the sneakers, like my boss said,
hmm, right,
nothing's going to change.
exactly. And it even goes for the self. Nobody can. Excuse me. I think I got a cat ball hair thing, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But no one can change you but you. You can get guidance, you can get help, you can talk to other people, but nobody can actually do the work but yourself. If you're not in a happy position, if you're not where you're feeling joy that will empower you, only you can get yourself out of that. Other people can assist you, but you have to do the work to get out of it. You actually have to take that first step to saying, I'm not happy. That's the first step, admitting you're not happy. The second step is doing something about it, finding something like you were saying that brings you joy. Taking that first step actually will let you take a second step and a third step. And before you know it, you're laughing and doing bubbly dances down the road.
Yeah. And he maybe even making money at it. You never know. That
Yeah.
happened so much over the pandemic that, people found out that the things that they were just doing in the mundane were, actually, a way of them making a living, So
Right.
don't ever give up on your dreams. That's for sure. Do what
No.
brings you joy. Follow the things that make you happy, because if that's, I've always said to myself, my outer world is a manifestation of what I'm holding inside. And if I'm holding
Exactly.
anger and bitterness and frustration in me 24/7, that is what my whole, you ever notice that? Like when you're in a,
Hmm.
oh, and you're in a rush, like you wake up late and then everything just spirals downhill from that point.
Yeah. And
That's
you
when I
actually
say,
emanate that outwards, you
and you
know?
actually end up taking longer to do what you needed to do. So I always like take a deep breath and step back. And I say, okay,
Exactly.
you know, let's just slow it
Exactly.
back here, because otherwise you just get more of it coming around you.
It's like the
That's how I
Facebook
feel
thing you were
anyway.
talking about earlier. It's
Our
just like
outer
that
world is
Facebook
a
thing.
direct manifestation of what's inside of us. If you're a shitty person, if you're a poopy person, you're your life, that's what you're going to have around you.
Exactly. Exactly. If and it's also what you manifest inside, and how you feel and how you act and how you portray yourself affects others as well.
Well, thank
So
you, Rhonda.
again, it's that I know this is fun. This is a lot of
Well,
fun.
finish what you were saying. I mean, we have 3 minutes, I think.
No, I was just saying that it's like that ripple effect thing, but not in a positive way,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
exactly. And that's, cause and effect. And that's a scientific thing. I didn't make that up,
That's
but
why I always try to be happy, happy, joy, joy. You know,
I love that
I
song. The happy helmet.
I
Oh
always
my God, that
yeah,
should be my
I
theme
always
song for the show. Happy,
I
happy,
always try to be
joy, joy.
happy, happy, right? And I try to be like that because it not only helps keep me lifted up, but it helps me to deal with the bad circumstances that go on. The happiness overrides. I don't care if you're trying to sue me. seriously, what are you going to do to me? You know, type of thing.
I
It's
got
just a
nothing for you.
thing.
Sorry. But
But
thank you
yeah,
so much for joining us tonight.
yeah, I had a
And for
great
everybody
time.
out there, whether you're watching on demand, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Roku TV now,
I
wherever
wish
you're
Class
catching
TV.
us, wherever you're catching us on WCTV, however way you're seeing us, I thank you and I appreciate you. I appreciate you,
Same.
Hercules, for giving me this platform and this opportunity and for being my main producer guy.
My pleasure.
And, and I thank Rhonda for
Yeah,
putting
I
up with
thank you
my
guys very much.
shenanigans.
Thank you, Hercules and Joanne, as always. Love you a lot.
Thank you for being such an awesome guest, and I look forward to posting your program. It should be up by midnight tonight.
Okay,
Excellent. He
thank you
always says
so
that, and
much.
then it's like up 5 minutes later.
I'll post it to my family as well, my Facebook people.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Good night and success in all your joyous adventures.
Thank you so much, and blessed be.
Blessed be.